Hi everyone, Magnus here, and in today's video we're going to be looking at a really nice chess opening for the white pieces. Very simple and straightforward to learn, and hopefully you'll get a lot of really nice positions from it. I'm going to be showing this quickly through Elite Chess Study, and then I'll play a game myself and see how it goes. Okay, so starting off with this opening, you're playing with the white pieces, and you want to develop this move knight to f3. Now this links in with my previous idea about good blitz openings, and you want your opening to be relatively unknown to your opponents. And as you can see here in the Elite Chess database for 1400 to 2000, which is the majority of people on Elite Chess, that translates to probably like, I don't know, 400 to 1000 on chess.com. Yeah, so as you can see, knight f3 by far only 3% of games are played with knight f3, 60% e4, 25% d4, which means that people will not be prepared for this move. So after you play knight f3, some of the most common responses are knight to f6 and d5. Also, pawn to e5 gets played quite a lot. People just don't understand that when the knight's developed here, that's the whole point, is to take this pawn. You can just take that pawn, and you're up a clean pawn. As soon as they do anything to your knight, you just retreat, and you will continue with the standard plan that will be showing soon. So, let's say they play d5. This seems like probably the most principled move. Also, the most popular move, as you can see, 35%. Pawn d5. You will be playing d3. And your main plan is to go bishop g2 and castle. But we're not playing a King's Indian attack, where we want to get d3 and e4. Instead, we want bishop g2, but as soon as they threaten to get this pawn here to e5, we're going to play d4 to stop it and fight for the center. And then we're going to play c4, break open the center, and then try and win with this really nice diagonal bishop here. Okay, so let's say they play knight to c6, which is quite a common move. What would you do, given what I've just said? Yeah, because they're trying to play pawn to e5, right? So we want to play d4, stopping e5. Okay, and say they play knight to f6, we develop our bishop. Let's say they play e6, we castle, they play bishop e7. Now that you've got your setup with moving out the knight, moving out the pawn, developing the bishop, castling the king, your next line of action is to play pawn to c4, try and put some pressure on the center, get them to take you, put your knight in the middle to really just put some pressure on them, and ideally we can end up winning this rook. So I can show something like this. We play c4. Let's say they take. You can play a variety of things here. You can put your knight here. You can put your queen here to start winning back the pawn. Let's say that you put the queen on c2 to go after the pawn, and they go pawn to b5. That's already a mistake. Actually, instead of queen c2, let's say you go knight d2. They can take this pawn here. You can take that pawn there. And that already looks like a pretty decent position. Eventually, we can get a position like this, where we have pressure on this pawn. And even though white's down a pawn, we've got this knight that can come to a5 and really put some good pressure on them. But maybe knight d2 is probably not the best move. I think probably, actually no, queen a4 is definitely the way to go. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, queen a4 makes a lot more sense. You pin the knight, put some pressure on the pawn. Let's say they castle, you can just take back the pawn. Oops, I've accidentally highlighted everything. Equally, let's say that they take the pawn. You can very often, you can also just play, let me just check for a second. Okay, queen a5 is objectively the best move, which makes a lot of sense. I was about to say, there are some cases where you can play pawn to b3, sacrifice a pawn, and open up this file for your rook. I'm just trying to show a variety of different ideas, because you won't always be getting the same position. But if you can get up to this position, the position where they take the pawn, you play queen a5, and you recollect the pawn. White's doing very, very well. For example, castles, takes the pawn. Let's say they play bishop e7. You can go knight c3. And black's really congested here. Let's say they put the knight at the center. You're playing e4. They take. And white just has really, really nice center control. All these pawns here. It doesn't really matter if you lose your c pawn or your b pawn, as long as you can get these nice center pawns, this really nice bishop looking down here, and a rook that can come to the b file, and good queenside pressure. Okay. So let's say go back all the way. That's about as much as you need to know in those positions. Let's say that they play symmetrical, like this. Same plan here. Let's say that they develop their bishop, like this. You'll go d4, they castle, and c4. Okay. Quite common is that they don't want to give you too much, so they'll play c6. They don't want to take the pawn, because if they end up taking the pawn, you can develop your knight, put your pawn in the center, like this. You can put your knight in the middle, get some trades, and you'll always win back this pawn here somehow, or you can sacrifice it, your b pawn, and just be down a pawn, but really, really good pressure. Being down a pawn in blitz and bullet, even rapid, doesn't really matter too much. Even in classical, GM's always shown Catalan openings really, really strong. White sacrifices a pawn for a long time for good positional compensation, and black's just suffering the whole game. So one last line that I'd like to show is this move with pawn c4, c5, sorry. And after we see c5, we like to go. You can castle first, and then after you see knight to c6, pawn d4 is good. Let's see, takes here, take d4. So as you can see, we've not done anything special. We've played the moves that we were meant to play. After they kick this out, we take the knight, and then we play c4. And as you can see, this bishop becomes a monster, right? If they take here, we're just taking, that's a fork. We win the rook. And let's say they try and defend the pawn. We can put more pressure with the knight here. And let's say that they develop their bishop. We can play bishop g5, eliminate the defender. Let's say castles, take, and we're up a pawn with a nice easy position, really, really good here. White's doing very well. Okay, so I'm going to show you one blitz game that I'm going to play. Hopefully I'll get white, and then should be good for the video, just as a quick example game. Okay, I've been given the white pieces against 1000 from Germany. We're going to be playing knight to f3, and hopefully playing this kind of opponent should give you a pretty good idea of the kind of things they'll be playing at your level. As you can see, they play d6, which threatens to go e5, so I play d4, stopping that. They play f6, so they really want this move. We're going to continue with the general idea. I don't think this is best. Probably a move like pawn e4 was very good there, but let's just continue with the principles. Castles. Oh, wow. Okay, we're getting some pretty wild stuff here. I don't really know what to make of this, to be honest. I guess now I know how all you feel. Okay, let's just play the normal stuff. I don't want to try and divert too much, even though I don't think this is the best move. I think probably something with the e pawn might have been good. Okay, so let's try and keep developing. Get the knight out. Try and get this e pawn in here for the full center. So they're being very, very aggressive on the king side. Let's lock it all down. What I noticed is that they've created this huge weakness here with in their position. Potentially I can go and get my knight in. which could be good. Yeah. I'm also noticing that they can't take this pawn because we have queen a4 check on the king, picks up the knight. So let's go in here. Try and break into these light squares. Okay, they blundered the knight. Well, not quite. They'll probably play b5, but then I'll take it. Okay, they give me the knight. And we haven't done anything too special. We've stuck to the idea. As you can remember that queen a4 plan, it was the same. We wanted to collect their pawn. This time we're just collecting a knight. So it's very similar stuff. Let's go in with the knight to e6. I'm trying to go after this c-pawn. Okay, they've given us the c-pawn, and that's also a big fork. Let's take that bishop. We can go for the queen trade. They've disconnected our knight here. We can also consider taking, which could be good. We can take with the queen. We're up a lot of material here, so trading queens is good. Yeah, let's trade queens. Okay. We can try and get the knight back around to these squares that looked really good earlier. Threatening some forks. En passant wins a pawn. Opens up the bishop too, which looks very nice. Let's develop the other bishop. It often likes to go to e3. Get this nice bishop pair here. Let's develop a rook to the c-file. Try and give a check. Maybe take here. Free knight. And they resign. So probably not the best game, not the most accurate, but hopefully you can see some of the key concepts and like the basic plans and ideas. We'll do a quick game analysis. So developing the knight, and yeah, as you can see, definitely e4 was the way to go. I can actually show why. The point is that when you get something like this, you can actually sack the knight, and then you can go for this queen h4, and then you win the rook. So this is actually a really common idea in e4 positions, but you can actually transpose if they want to play f6. This is a really nice trick to remember. Queen h4 wins the game. But we just play the standard ideas. You can pretty much get away with this. Yeah, there's often some tactics. Maybe, I'm not exactly sure why this is so winning. So obviously they'll take the bishop. Then we just go knight e6 and then take back. That should be crushing. Okay. Yeah, d5. We win the knight. Get the knight to a nice square. Collect the bishop. Go for the queen trade. You take nice central squares. Develop the rooks to often the c-file and the d-file. We would have put some pressure down and probably won without too much of a problem. These bishops are really, really nice. And yeah, that might be a thumbnail actually. All those arrows. Wow. Very nice. Okay. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. Learned this pretty straightforward opening. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.